Hi, this is Shweta from Growth Idea, and today I want to talk about delegation and talk about certain mindset principles and also certain tactics which will actually practically help you understand how to delegate effectively. Now, listen, as you are growing your business, you understand that there are different complexities. Only 2% of the businesses ever get to cross 5 million turnover mark in their lifespan. One of the top reasons for that is lack of delegation by the remaining businesses. Today, what I really want to talk about is the importance of delegation, because if you are not good at it, not comfortable with this notion, then you will end up being the complexity ceiling in your own business. So let's dive straight into it. And I want you to pay close attention for the next few minutes because it can really make a difference to your business growth and how you are conducting yourself in this entity. All right, so I'll bring up a quick set of slides on the screen. I'm assuming you can see it. This is literally art of delegation, but there is a method behind it, which is what we will talk about. Now, look, it could be that you are not delegating enough because you feel that you might as well do it. It's just going to take you too long to explain it to someone else. Or you might not have that confidence in the other person, that will you be able to transfer the project successfully? It could be that you believe that you're the super person, you're the person who can only do this job right. And trust me, there are many people who feel like that. Also, actually, you might understand the importance of delegation and you want to, but you're not so sure if the team can handle that responsibility well. Or maybe that you actually enjoy completing certain projects, so actually you prefer not to delegate because you're having fun in that. And sometimes I've also seen that business owners feel guilty if they are delegating more work to their employees, to their team members, because they feel that they're already busy, the employees are already busy, right? So it could be multitude of reasons, and you have to really ask yourself, think, what are those one or two reasons which generally stop you from delegating effectively? Okay, so just reflect on that for just a second or 2 seconds. Now, look, I can get into tactics, and which we will get into to understand how to delegate effectively. But I personally believe that it's not so much the tactics, it's actually the mindset which really needs to be brought into focus. Many business owners out there are not thinking about this strategically enough. And I want to talk about 5 key principles that you need to be mindful of. So let's just have a look at what these 5 factors are. The first one for me is really sense of value. Okay, this is a really pivotal one. And what I mean by that is if you think about some project, right, or some contract that you have, now to make good gross margin on that contract or that project, you have to very carefully allocate resources, your labor, your material, how much time is going into it to ensure that you deliver that project profitably. It's exactly the same in the business. If there is misallocation of resource, then the business profitability and growth gets impacted. And what I mean by that is your role as the head of the business is to ensure that you're allocating your team members to the right tasks, you're allocating yourself to the right tasks, where your time is being deployed, where your headspace is being deployed, because the fact is that you are the biggest asset in your business, you are the biggest resource. So, therefore, if you look at yourself very objectively and say, okay, where am I allocating my time? Is this the place where I'm optimizing the value or the impact for the business? And that sense of value, your value per hour, where is the highest economic value? Where is the biggest impact? Because every time you do something which is below your value per hour or potential value per hour, you are actually stealing from the business in terms of the potential of its growth, right? So, really understanding where is the biggest value of your tasks, where should you be deploying yourself, okay? And I'm really focusing on yourself as the person. That's really, really important, because if that sense of value is not there, this is where people fritter away their time. They are getting busy with average value or low value activities, and the day goes by, but the business is not really moving forward. So that's really important, and that's the mindset. You protect your time, you make sure that you're putting it in the right areas. The second one is, what I've also seen is that, with business leaders, when there is some task, they generally think saying, okay, how should I be going about this? Okay, let's see, what needs to be done here. And this is where the switch is required. So, for example, in my case, or the clients that we work with, it's not how. We are actually training them, coaching them to focus on who should you be delegating this task to? Who could help you achieve this task, or complete this task effectively, right? That should be the first question rather than straight away jumping into how. So it's who, not how. Really important mindset. The third one really here is patience. Remember, we talked about why people don't delegate, because they feel, oh, I'm not going to spend time, I might as well do it. And just the way you think, all these little tasks keep getting added up. And then there's a whole long list of things that you're focusing, which should not be focused by you. So I think in delegation, and especially if you are playing a long-term game where you're trying to grow the business in a systematic, sustainable way, you need to have patience. You need to understand that your team will actually make mistakes. They will fail, which is the fourth point, that you need to have tolerance for failure. If you cannot absorb failure and if you're like, oh my God, I need to get everything done correctly the first time, then of course you're the best person, but then you can only do so much. So you need to be okay with having a little bit more patience in training, inducting your team, and then okay to absorb the mistakes. We don't want to be making the same mistake twice, but it's okay to make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes, right? That's a really important mindset again. And the fifth one, a really fascinating one, is that when business owners, and you might have tolerance for failure, but talking about it to the person you've delegated the task is a big kind of burden, emotional burden for quite a few of people. Confronting the other person and giving them that feedback, saying, no, actually, you didn't do the task properly, this is how it needs to be done, is quite a big ask for quite a few of people, because they don't want to upset the equilibrium. And this is where it's really important for you to understand the concept of radical candor. And radical candor doesn't mean you're being brash or very straight to the point. It actually means you're being straight to the point, but with respect. There is honesty and there is respect. And once you have a mix of these two things really nicely, you can have any kind of conversation. But again, ask yourself that, do you avoid these conversations which need to happen, but you're letting it simmer, and therefore you're like, what's the point of this headache? I might as well do it. So really important 5 principles. Pay attention to this, because once you're comfortable with all these 5, I assure you, doing things tactically, applying those things practically, it becomes way easier. But if there is a mental bottleneck, then it's going to be tricky. Okay, so again, really important set of points here for you to absorb, for you to reflect on, saying, where do I need to become better here? Okay, just identify those 1 or 2 areas, saying where I need to think in an autopilot way. Is it who, not how? Is it about having that value of time, my time, protecting that value of time, and deploying it the right way? Where do you need to focus? All right.